Start with the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, the Arizona Cardinals did pretty well last season, right? They started out 11-0, finished the season, 12-5. First round playoff exit to the LA Rams. So obviously, by default facto, by having a very successful season last season, they get a number one ranked schedule going into the 2022 NFL season. With that being said, they do have the second hardest schedule per win-loss ratio of teams from last season. They have a winning percentage of .543, so over 500. So yeah, I mean, definitely a very, very tough schedule. And when we look at it on the surface, it is a very, very tough schedule. They do play the AFC West. They play the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Chargers all this season, and the Broncos as well. So the AFC West is obviously probably one of the hardest divisions in football, if not the hardest, but behind the NFC West. But I have the Arizona Cardinals going 6-11 this season, just 1-5 in the division. I don't have any faith in this Arizona Cardinal team whatsoever. I think they're going to be a very, very down year, and missing DeAndre Hopkins the first 6 games of the season is definitely going to hurt them, because let's look at their first 6 games of the season. First game, they are at home. We'll give them that, but they welcome the Kansas City Chiefs into town. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs historically are not very good week 1, week 2, or week 3, but maybe the times have turned. Maybe Patrick Mahomes has finally, actually prepared himself this offseason, unlike last offseason when he was just banging his baby mama, right, and dealing with the 1-year-old and like all that stuff. Maybe he's prepared. But they start the season off with the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a loss. Then they travel to Vegas. That's a loss. And then that home versus the Rams. That's a loss. Then they travel across the world. Not really across the world, but to Carolina to take on the Panthers. That's a loss. Then they welcome the Philadelphia Eagles into town. That's a loss as well. This is going to be a very sneaky, very, very sneaky good Philadelphia Eagles team. I have not break down their schedule yet, but I could anticipate them getting 10 to 11 wins this season. The Eagles are going to be a very, very good team, and that is exactly the game that I have circled first on the list. Like, this is a game that could make or break the Arizona Cardinals season. So I do have them starting the season 0-4, and with a loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, I have them going 0-5 to start the season. This is a game that is a very pivotal point for them in the season, because we're going to see what the Arizona Cardinals are made of, like, at this particular point, because next week they travel to Seattle to take on a Seahawks team that is supposed to be down, right? A Seahawks team that is supposed to be tanking and drafting the next quarterback in the first overall pick for next season. They still got DK Metcalf, still got Tyler Lockett, and they still have a very competitive quarterback in Geno Smith and or Drew Lock, depending who starts. That's a loss at loss as well. Guys, I have the Arizona Cardinals starting the season 0-6. 0-6. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be such a huge miss. Hollywood Brown is not going to be anywhere close to what DeAndre Hopkins is. Yes, I know DeAndre Hopkins only had like 500 yards receiving last season, but he also missed like 7 games. So he was still on pace to get over 1,000 yards, right? But he is going to be such a huge loss for the Arizona Cardinals his first six games of the season, for putting the needle in his butt. So his first game back will be week 7 on a Thursday night game versus the New Orleans Saints, a New Orleans Saints team that could also be sneakily good if Drew Brees comes back. Look out, right? I mean, shit. Like, we all heard the news, like he is hinting about, oh, maybe I'll make a comeback, right? But yeah, but I do have the Arizona Cardinals getting their first win of the season come week 7 over the New Orleans Saints. Then they travel to Minnesota and they'll beat the purple and gold. They'll beat Skull Nation. Then week 9, if they win this game versus the Seahawks, that'll be 3 in a row. It's called a winning streak. Does it happen? No. Absolutely not. The Arizona Cardinals do not beat the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. Minnesota Vikings are going to be a damn good team. They're probably going to win the NFC North. Let's just be flat out honest. They're not going to beat the Vikings. So they are literally they are 2-6 going into a Week 9 game when they're back at home taking on the Seahawks. The same Seahawks team that beat them earlier in week 6. A couple games later, a month later, bada bing, bada boom, the Seahawks do it again. Yeah, God, this is rough for the Arizona Cardinals this year. And then they lose the Week 10 matchup versus the Rams as well. So we're looking at them at 2-8 going into Week 11. 2 weeks before the bye week. The bye week cannot come soon enough. But the tables start to turn for the Arizona Cardinals come Week 11. San Francisco 49ers come into town. They whoop that ass. They beat them down. 49ers fans saying, put Trey Lance in. Like, no, we don't want to play Trey Lance. Jimmy G's doing so good. Yada, yada, yada. Chargers come into town. They beat the Chargers as well. Bye week is Week 13. Week 14, the Patriots come to town. Third home game in 4 weeks here, counting the bye. Beat the Patriots as well. The Cardinals have won 3 games in a row over the 49ers, Chargers, and Patriots. I like it. I like it a lot, right? That puts them at 5-8 at this particular time. Week 15, they travel to Mile High Stadium to take on the Broncos. That is a loss. Whether, I don't care how good or how bad the Broncos are going to be, playing at Mile High is a man's game. I mean, for whatever reason, teams that travel to Mile High just do not do well. Kansas City Chiefs, Raiders, it doesn't matter who you are. You can be the Buccaneers. You are going to have problem with the elements there at Mile High Stadium. Week 15 is probably going to be cold, might be snowing, elevation, yada, yada, yada. You go from sea level to above a mile high. It is rough. Now, Week 16, the Buccaneers come into Arizona. They do get that win, upset win. Week 17, travel to Atlanta. Cross the country from West Coast to East Coast. 1 o'clock games are rough. Rough for the West Coast team. Falcons win that game. Week 18, they're at this time, they're like, man, can the season get done over enough? 49ers are probably playing for a playoff spot at this time. For the 49ers beat them. So in 2022, I do have the Arizona Cardinals not doing too hot, going 6-11, 1-5 in the division. Their wins are going to come over the New Orleans Saints, Minnesota Vikings, the 49ers Week 11 Chargers, the Patriots, Buccaneers, and the Patriots. So yeah, Arizona Cardinals fans,